I said, my voice as flat and cold as the Chicago wind rattling the glass of my apartment window. I felt my jaw tighten, a familiar tension radiating from my neck down to my shoulders, but the words came out smooth and polished. Then I added the sentence that I knew would make her entire world stop spinning. Well, in that case, the entire event is canceled. The silence on the other end of the line was heavy and deafening. It was that specific, suffocating kind of quiet that tells you someone has just realized they pushed the wrong button, pulled the wrong lever, and messed with the one person they absolutely should have kept on their side. I could practically visualize the blood draining from her face as she stood in her designer kitchen. She probably thought I was bluffing. She always assumes I am all talk and no action. That is the problem when you spend your whole life being the good daughter, the reliable one who never makes a scene. People start to forget you have a breaking point, and they never realize how sharp the jagged pieces are until it is far too late and they are already bleeding. My name is Madison. I am 29 years old, and for as long as I can remember, the holidays have been my full-time, unpaid job. I am the secret architect of my family's annual holiday bash, a massive event that the entire neighborhood in the Chicago suburbs looks forward to all year. I am the one who curates the guest list on a complex digital platform, designs the elegant invitations, plans the 5-course gourmet menu, and coordinates the decor down to the last sprig of fresh holly. I am the one who silently manages every single crisis that bubbles up behind the scenes. I ensure my mother can swan around her own party looking like the effortless, magical hostess she wants everyone to believe she is. Every scented candle, every perfectly timed transition in the jazz playlist, every coordinated family photo op for social media. That was all me. My secret spreadsheets were a work of art, color-coded and cross-referenced with military precision. And this year, the very woman whose entire social standing was built on my invisible, meticulous labor had the audacity to tell me through a crackling phone line that I was not needed, not wanted, not welcome. And in that moment, something inside me did not just break. It hardened into cold, industrial steel. I did not cry, I did not raise my voice. If I was not needed, then I would conduct an experiment. I would show them exactly how needed I truly was. I had the contact list for every single guest. I was the keeper of every tradition. I held all the leverage in the palm of my hand. With a single, well-timed message, her picture-perfect holiday could crumble faster than a stale gingerbread cookie. Have you ever wondered what happens when the quiet, dependable person in the family finally decides to tear up the script they were handed? Stick with me, and I will walk you through how one simple sentence ignited the coldest, most calculated revenge of my life. When the call finally disconnected, I remained standing in my small, cozy kitchen in the city. The phone was still clutched tightly in my hand, its screen dark, reflecting my own pale and determined face. "We've decided we do not need you this year, Madison." The words echoed in my mind like a cruel, repetitive mantra. For over a decade, my entire month of December had revolved around that house, that massive mahogany dining table, and that painstakingly crafted illusion of a happy, perfect American family. And with a single, casual sentence, I had been deleted from the narrative. The most absurd part was her tone. She delivered the line as if she were granting me a precious gift, as if unburdening me from the holiday was an act of profound kindness. That is the essence of my mother, Patricia. She has a rare talent for shattering you into 1,000 pieces and then convincing you that she is the one setting you free. To the outside world, she is the woman who single-handedly creates Christmas magic. The flawless 12-foot tree, the gourmet catering, the heartwarming family portraits that populate her Instagram feed for weeks. They applaud her year after year. They never see the endless group texts I manage, the logistical spreadsheets I create, or the frantic last-minute trips I make to specialty stores, When she forgets something as fundamental as cloth napkins, or, as happened one year, the actual gift for my grandfather. They do not see me, sleeves rolled up, scrubbing heavy roasting pans at 2 in the morning while she sits in the living room with a glass of wine, graciously accepting compliments like a queen receiving tribute after a magnificent performance. My brother Tyler just laughs it off, saying I am just naturally good at that stuff. It is easy for him to say. His only required contribution to the holidays is to show up, look charming in a sweater, and exist. My contribution is, well, everything else. My mind drifted back to last year's party. The main double oven had died just an hour before the first guests were scheduled to arrive. Patricia had stood in the middle of the kitchen, hands fluttering in a staged panic, already composing her dramatic monologue about failing appliances and how she tried so hard. I, on the other hand, quietly got on the phone. I called in a massive favor with a local chef I knew, ordered a variety of high-end pre-prepared dishes, and seamlessly rearranged the entire serving schedule. I then breezed into the living room and lied to everyone about a planned, fun, surprise tasting menu for the evening. My mother received glowing compliments on her spontaneity and creativity. I received a distracted, "Thanks, Maddie," as she posed for a photo in front of the very table setting I had single-handedly salvaged. So when she told me this year that we do not need you to come, a dark, cynical part of me actually chuckled. If I were to simply vanish from the equation, that house would not just feel a little emptier. The entire production would implode. I am the one who books Uncle Dave's Amtrak tickets and reminds him of the holiday schedule. I am the one who drives across the suburbs to pick up my grandmother, so she does not have to spend the holiday alone. I am the one who orchestrates the Secret Santa, a logistical nightmare of tracking names, digital wish lists and price limits, and then I am the one who texts each cousin their assignment and follows up to make sure they actually bought a gift. Without me, there is no holiday gala. Not the polished, effortless version they have all grown accustomed to. The more I mulled it over, the more the path forward crystallized in my mind. For the first time in my life, I held all the cards. For once, I was the one in the director's chair, deciding how this particular story would unfold. She expects me to stay in my lane. She thinks I will have a good cry, feel sorry for myself, and then probably still show up on the day with a tin of homemade cookies and a perfectly wrapped gift, a loyal little soldier reporting for duty. But this time, she is mistaken. I am done being the behind-the-scenes stagehand for a production she takes all the credit for. I opened our massive family holiday group chat and scrolled through the list of names. Aunts, uncles, cousins, close family friends, even my own father, all neatly organized under my name, which was marked with a single, powerful word, admin. That word, which I had never given a second thought to, now felt like a loaded weapon. I did not type a single character. Not yet. I just let the idea marinate. What really happens when the person you have always treated as disposable decides to stop doing all the invisible work that holds your perfect world together? Would you still be showing up with a smile if your own mother told you that your presence was not required? Or would you finally decide to show her exactly how much of her flawless life is built on your tired, aching back? The next morning, my phone started vibrating on my nightstand before my alarm had a chance to go off. I did not even have to look at the screen to know who was calling. Tyler, right on schedule. He is always the one Mom deploys when she needs a harsh message delivered with a softer touch. I let it ring once, twice, a third time for good measure, then finally answered. "What?" I said, forgoing any pretense of politeness. No hello, no fake morning cheer, just a single blunt word. "Whoa, good morning to you, too," he chuckled, but the humor was forced. He quickly shifted his tone, slipping into his well-worn role as the family peacemaker. "Listen, Mom told me what happened. She did not mean it the way it sounded. You know how she gets when she is under pressure." And there it was, the classic family translation. "She drove a knife into your back, but please try not to bleed on her nice rugs." She said nobody needs me, I replied, my voice flat. She meant she does not want any drama this year, he insisted, his voice taking on a wheedling quality. She is tired, Madison. You have to understand she has been doing this all by herself for years. A laugh escaped me, sharp and bitter. Doing what by herself? Giving me a to-do list? He completely ignored that. Anyway, even if you are not planning on coming, could you at least handle the usual stuff? You know, the group chat updates, the schedule reminders, the holiday playlist. You are just so much better at it. You've got to be kidding me, I cut in, my voice rising. So let me get this straight. I am not needed, but my unpaid labor is still on the schedule. There was a beat of silence, followed by a frustrated sigh. Madison, do not be so dramatic. This is not all about you. My fingers curled, digging into the cold granite of my kitchen counter. Really? Because she literally made it about me when she uninvited me. Tyler pressed on, as if he were reading lines from a script Patricia had personally approved. Mom is worried about you. She thinks you are pulling away. She is the one who paid for your art school, your apartment deposit, everything. The least you could do is make the holidays easy on her. A sour taste filled my mouth. Paid for my art school? I repeated, the words feeling foreign. You mean the art school I had to drop out of after a single semester because, as she told me, there was not enough money for me to go back? Oh my God, not this again, he groaned. You know things were tight back then. She did what she had to do for the family. She even had to use your $529 college fund when Dad's business almost went under. It was for all of us. Stop acting like you are the only victim here. My brain screeched to a halt. What college fund? There was a tiny, almost imperceptible pause on his end, the sound of a man realizing he had just said far too much. Nothing. Look, forget I said anything. Just, can you send the reminder text? People are starting to ask what time to arrive, but I was not listening anymore. My heart did not sink. It solidified into a block of ice. There had been a college fund, money that was meant for me, money I had never known existed. I have to go, I said, my voice barely a whisper, and I hung up the phone before he could weave another one of his convenient, revisionist histories. Later that day, I was on a mission, digging through archived emails, old cloud storage folders, anything that could prove my gut feeling was right. I finally found it, an ancient email from a financial services company we had used when I was a kid. It mentioned an account opened in my name. Attached was a scanned note from my grandparents. College fund for Madison's future only. The last transaction statement showed the balance being completely drained 8 years ago. The exact same year, Tyler's tech startup had been mysteriously bailed out after he had run up a mountain of credit card debt. The withdrawal authorization form had 2 names on it, mine and Patricia's. My supposed signature looked wrong, a clumsy, rushed imitation of my own handwriting. My hands began to tremble, but it was not from sadness. It was from a chilling, absolute clarity. She had not just cut me out of the holidays, she had been carving pieces out of my future for years, and now she had the nerve to demand my quiet, obedient assistance for one more flawless performance. I opened the family holiday group chat again. This time there was no hesitation. I created a new group, naming it Holiday Update, December 24th. I carefully added everyone from the original list except for Patricia and Tyler. Then my fingers flew across the screen. Hey everyone, just a quick update. Mom told me she is feeling really overwhelmed this year and is hoping for a much smaller, quieter gathering. A small, polite lie to start. She asked me to scale things down, so I will be hosting anyone who still wants to celebrate at my place here in Chicago. I completely understand if you have already made other plans, but if you would like a warm meal, some good company, and maybe some real conversation, my door is wide open. I stared at the message for a long moment. Then I pressed send. The replies began to trickle in almost immediately. Honestly, a smaller get-together sounds amazing. We were really only coming to see you anyway, Madison. Can I bring my famous pecan pie?" I watched as my mother's meticulously constructed empire began to creak and groan under the weight of a few simple, honest text messages. Tell me, if you discovered your own mother had secretly liquidated your college fund to rescue your golden boy brother, would you still be showing up to carve the turkey? Or would you start rewriting the guest list too? By the end of the day, my small apartment was unofficially becoming Plan B, the real holiday gathering. My phone buzzed relentlessly. People kept texting, asking what they could contribute, what time to arrive, whether it was okay to bring their kids. Every single notification felt like another nail being hammered into the coffin of my mother's perfect, fraudulent image. I had not told them about the college fund, not yet. That was my trump card, and I wanted the truth to land with maximum impact at the right time and in the right way. Revenge, I was learning, was not just about anger, it was about impeccable timing. In between coordinating who would bring salads and who would bring wine, I propped my phone up on the kitchen counter and hit the record button. If my mother wanted me to be invisible, I was about to make myself seen by everyone. My mom told me that no one needed me to come home for the holidays this year, I began, looking directly into the camera lens. So, I decided to see what would happen if I just stopped. Stopped doing all the invisible work I've been doing for her my entire life. I never used her name. I did not name anyone. I just told the story. The story of the planning, the decorating, the emotional gymnastics, the years of being treated more like an employee than a daughter. I did not perform my sadness. I did not beg the audience for sympathy. I just presented the facts, one after another, like a prosecutor laying out evidence before a jury. At the very end, I let a small, cold smile touch my lips, a smile I barely recognized as my own. If you have ever been made to feel like the forgotten one in your own family, I said, this holiday is for us. I saved the video, scheduled it to go live on the evening of the 24th, and put my phone down. Let the internet bear witness to what happens when you push the quiet one too far. Then I got to work. My first call was to the high-end catering company my mother used every single year. It was under my account, of course, because Patricia never wanted a paper trail leading back to her own credit card. "Hi there," I said, my voice dripping with artificial sweetness. "I need to cancel the holiday order for the Miller residence. Yes, the entire thing." Next, I pulled up the email chain with the luxury linen rental service, the one that provided the elegant tablecloths and chair covers that made everything look so sophisticated. I typed out a brief, simple message. "Plans have changed. Please cancel our upcoming order. Thank you." Finally, I called my grandmother. She answered on the second ring, her voice already bubbling with excitement. "Madison, darling, are you getting excited for the big party at your mother's?" My throat tightened, but I forced my voice to remain steady and calm. "Actually, Grandma, Mom told me she's feeling really worn out this year," I said carefully, choosing my words. "She has decided to scale things way, way back. But I did not want you to be stuck at home all alone. So how would you feel about spending the holiday at my apartment instead? I can come and pick you up." There was a short pause, then a soft, delighted laugh. "Oh, sweetheart, I would absolutely love that. It has been ages since I have seen your place. Your mother has been so busy lately, she hardly has time to let me visit." "Yeah," I said, my eyes fixed on a crack in the plaster on my wall. "Busy." After I hung up, I checked the group chats again. My mother had created a new, much smaller side group titled Immediate Family Only and was firing off messages at a furious pace. I watched the notifications pile up on my lock screen. I do not know what has gotten into Madison. She is deliberately trying to ruin the holidays. "Tyler, you need to call her and talk some sense into her. She genuinely believed I was the problem. That was fine." She could scream into her self-made echo chamber. The rest of the family was already busy making new plans. Around midnight, my phone screen lit up, a video call from Tyler. I answered. His face, tired and annoyed, filled the screen. "What the hell are you doing?" he demanded. No preamble. "Aunt Linda just called me asking if the party is canceled at Mom's. Did you tell people that?" "I told them Mom wanted something smaller," I replied with an icy calm. "Which is the truth. She does not want me there, remember?" "You are twisting her words," he snapped. "She just meant she wanted less chaos." "Well, then she got exactly what she asked for," I said. "Less people, less chaos, and less me." His jaw clenched. "You are taking this way too far, Madison. This is family. You cannot just sabotage the holidays." "Funny," I said, the words sharp, because she did not seem to have a problem sabotaging my entire future the day she forged my signature and drained my college fund. This time, he had no quick, easy comeback. He just stared at me, his mouth slightly agape. "You do not understand everything that was going on back then," he finally mumbled. "Maybe I do not," I agreed, "but she is about to." I ended the call before he could try to spin another lie. Sometimes, the most powerful thing you can do is simply stop explaining yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. If your entire family was built on a foundation of lies you never agreed to, how far would you go to finally force everyone to see the truth? 2 days before the holiday, the mask finally shattered. My phone rang again, and this time it was Patricia. No text message, no hiding behind her son. A direct, old-fashioned phone call. I let it ring just long enough to make her wait, then I answered. "Yes?" I said. "No." "Hi, Mom. No forced pleasantries. Just that. What do you think you are doing?" she hissed, skipping a greeting herself. "I just got off the phone with your Aunt Sarah. She seems to think I canceled the holiday party." "I told her you wanted a smaller crowd," I corrected. "Which is exactly what you told me when you said no one needs me to come. Do not you dare twist my words, Madison," she snapped. "You know I was talking about your negative attitude, not your actual presence." I let out a genuine, humorless laugh. "So, my attitude is not needed, but my free labor is? Is that the deal? Oh, for God's sake," she said, her voice turning sharp and cruel. "This whole martyr routine is getting so old. You have always been this sensitive. You act like you are some kind of indentured servant when all you do is send a few texts and bake a few cookies." A hot wave of fury washed over me. "A few texts?" I repeated, my voice dangerously low. "You signed me up for years of unpaid event management and called it family tradition. I handle everything, Mom, and you damn well know it." There was a shaky, indignant breath on the other end of the line. Then she went straight for the jugular. "You want to talk about work? I worked my fingers to the bone for you and your brother. I used my own savings so you could have a future. I sacrificed everything for this family, and this is how you repay me? By turning everyone against me?" I almost let her have it. I almost let her paint herself as the victim one more time. But then I pictured the bank statement, the drained account, my forged signature. "Your savings?" I asked quietly. "Or mine?" Complete silence, not a calculated, dramatic pause. This was real, stunned silence. What are you talking about?" she stammered, her voice suddenly losing its sharp, commanding edge. I opened the photo I had taken of that old statement, my thumb hovering over the send button in the group chat labeled "Immediate Family Only." Then I had a better idea. I switched to the other chat. "Holiday update, December 24th. Everyone, all of them. I am talking about the college fund that Grandma Rose and Grandpa set up in my name," I said into the phone. "The one you emptied out 8 years ago? The one you used to bail Tyler out of his mess while telling me there was not enough money for me to stay in art school. That money was for the family," she shrieked, a spark of her old fire returning. "Your father's business was failing. Tyler was drowning in debt. We did what we had to do. Stop acting like the entire world revolves around you." "Right," I murmured. "You did what you had to do for everyone in the family but me." My thumb hovered over the screen again. This time, I attached the screenshot and typed a short message to the entire extended family group. Since Mom told me no one needs me to come this holiday, I have decided to host anyone who still wants to celebrate. Also, for those of you who have ever wondered why I never finished college, here is a part of the answer. I did not press send. Not just yet. My mother was still on the line, ranting about loyalty, respect, and how ungrateful I was for brainwashing the family against her. I barely registered the words. I was just staring at that unsent message, at that tiny blue arrow that represented the point of no return. Once I sent it, there would be no going back, no more pretending, no more that is just how she is, no more she means well, just the cold, ugly, undeniable truth. "You think you are so powerful, don't you?" she spat. "You think you can ruin my holiday? Let me be perfectly clear, Madison. No one needs you to come. Stay in your sad little apartment and have your pity party. We will be just fine without you." My face went numb. There it was again. This time there were no excuses, no claims of a wrong tone, no "you misheard me." Just the raw sentence, dripping with venom. I pulled the phone away from my ear, looking at her contact name on the screen, her voice still a tinny, frantic buzz in the background. Then I brought it back to my mouth and said calmly, "Fine." I could almost feel her smug smirk through the phone before I added, "Well, in that case, the entire event is canceled." I ended the call, and without allowing myself a single second to second-guess it, I hit send. "Tell me, if you held the irrefutable proof in your hand that your own mother had sold off your future to protect her favorite child, would you still try to keep the peace? Or would you press that button too?" The fallout was instantaneous. My phone lit up like a slot machine hitting the jackpot. Only this time, the flashing lights were a chaotic mix of accusations, shock, and utter disbelief. "Is this real?" one of my cousins wrote. "What fund?" another demanded. My grandmother sent a shaky voice note, asking if this was all some kind of terrible mistake. I replied to the main chat only once, my message clear and concise. "It is real. I just found out about it myself. I am not asking anyone to take sides. I am just done hiding it." After that, I let the digital firestorm rage. It was like ripping up the old, worn-out carpet in the family home and finding a sprawling, toxic mold colony underneath. People started sharing their own stories. Small anecdotes about times Patricia had borrowed money and never paid it back, times she had shifted blame, times she had subtly twisted the truth to make herself look better. Everyone had smelled something off for years. Now they were finally seeing the source of the rot. Meanwhile, in the immediate family-only chat, my mother was having a complete and total meltdown. "How dare you air our private family matters in public?" she typed. "This is the ultimate betrayal." Tyler tried to play mediator one last time, but even through the text, I could feel his rising panic. He had not known I had concrete proof. He had never expected me to aim this high. On the morning of December 24th, my scheduled video went live. My social media notifications exploded. Strangers from all over the country flooded the comments. Likes, shares, and a torrent of messages from people telling me their own stories of toxic holidays, of being the family scapegoat, of mothers who treated them like props instead of people. I read enough to understand a crucial truth. I was not alone in this, and my family was not unique. It was just finally being exposed to the light. By late afternoon, my apartment was filled with the warm scents of cinnamon and roasted potatoes. I was a blur of motion, moving between the stove and the front door, welcoming guests as they arrived. Cousins brought side dishes, an uncle arrived with several bottles of wine, and a few neighbors who had seen my video even knocked on the door just to drop off a dessert and offer a supportive hug. My grandmother arrived with me, her hand clutching my arm, her eyes teary but a genuine smile on her face. "You did all of this by yourself," she whispered, looking around at the happy, chaotic scene. "All those years, and you never got the credit. I am so sorry I did not see it sooner." I swallowed the lump forming in my throat and squeezed her hand. "You see it now, Grandma." That is what matters. Around 7 p.m., my dad called. I almost let it go to voicemail, but some part of me needed to hear what he had to say. "Madison," he began, his voice sounding thin and older than I had ever heard it. "What is going on over there?" "You saw the screenshot, Dad," I replied. "You tell me." He let out a long, weary sigh. "Things were complicated back then. I was in over my head with debt. Your mother, she made some choices. With my money," I stated, not as a question, "with my future, without asking me." There was a long pause, then a quiet, defeated admission. "Yes." I waited, holding my breath for an apology. It never came. Instead, he said, "Your mother is devastated, Madison. Half the family did not show up. Your brother just stormed out of the house. Is this really what you wanted?" I looked around my crowded, noisy apartment. People were laughing, glasses were clinking, and a couple of kids were playing with discarded wrapping paper on the floor. It was messy and loud and beautifully real. I wanted the truth, I said. Whatever comes with that is just a consequence. She did this to herself. "You have humiliated her," he said, his voice laced with disappointment. "She is sitting at a dining table set for 20 people, and there are only 4 of us here." For a fleeting second, a tiny sliver of guilt tried to find purchase in my heart. But then I remembered myself at 19, crying silently in my bedroom because I could not go back to school, being told, "There's just nothing we can do." All while my brother miraculously got the funding for his next big idea after yet another financial screw-up. I remembered her voice, dripping with condescension, telling me I was too sensitive every time she hurt my feelings. I remembered her cold, dismissive tone on the phone just days ago. "No one needs you to come." Then for the first time, "She knows how it feels," I replied. Every single year, I sat at that same table and felt like a ghost. She made her choice. I just stopped helping her hide it. He did not have a response to that. The heavy silence on the line told me he knew I was right, even if his pride would never let him say it out loud. "Happy holidays, Dad," I said, and I hung up the phone. A few hours later, there was a knock at my door. Loud, frantic, almost desperate. For a heart-stopping moment, my stomach plummeted. But when I pulled the door open, it was not my mother. It was Tyler, standing in the hallway without a coat, his cheeks flushed from the cold, clutching a poorly wrapped gift in his hands. Behind him, the hallway was silent and empty. "Can I come in?" he asked. All of his usual swagger was gone. "That depends," I said, not moving from the doorway. "Are you here to try and drag me back to Mom's pity party, or are you here to actually listen for once?" He let out a shaky breath, his shoulders slumping in defeat. "I left," he admitted. "She spent the entire dinner screaming about you, about how you ruined everything. She never apologized, not once. I kept waiting for her to, but she just kept going on and on about how embarrassed she was." "Embarrassed?" I repeated. "Not sorry." He nodded, looking miserable. "There is a difference," I said softly. He finally looked up at me then, really looked at me, as if he were seeing me clearly for the very first time. I did not know about the fund," he said quietly. I knew Mom found some money when I got into trouble, but I do not know what I thought. That she had savings, that Dad helped out. I never realized she took it from you." "You never asked," I replied, my voice even. "You never wanted to know where your safety net came from, as long as it was there to catch you." He flinched, as if I had slapped him. "You are right," he said. "I did not. And that is on me." From the living room behind me, a burst of laughter erupted as someone told a joke. The stark contrast between the warmth and joy in my apartment and the cold, lonely picture he had just painted of my mother's house was almost poetic. "So why are you here now?" I asked. "Because," he said, his voice rough with emotion, "I do not want to spend one more holiday pretending." I stepped aside. "Then come in," I told him, "but you need to understand something. I am not the family janitor or the event planner anymore. If you are in this house, you are here as my brother, not as Mom's messenger. He nodded and walked past me, his eyes widening as he took in the scene. For the very first time, he saw what I could build without her. He saw who I could be without begging for her approval. Watching the person who hurt you finally sit alone in the mess they created feels validating. But is it as satisfying as you always imagined? Or does it just leave a different, quieter kind of emptiness in its place? The holiday night stretched on, a chaotic and heartwarming blur. We played silly board games. We accidentally burned one of the side dishes and ended up ordering a few pizzas as a joke. Someone started a sing along that was painfully off-key, and my grandmother laughed so hard she had to wipe tears from her eyes. My apartment was not large or luxurious. Nothing matched. But for the first time in my adult life, I felt like I was hosting something that was truly mine. Not a performance for my mother, but a home. Tyler lingered in the corner at first, looking awkward and out of place, as if he had been dropped into a foreign country without a map. Eventually, one of our cousins roped him into a card game, and I watched his posture relax bit by bit. At one point, he caught my eye from across the room and mouthed the words, "Thank you." I just gave him a small nod. He had a very long road ahead of him, but at least he was finally walking in the right direction. Around midnight, long after most of the guests had departed, and the apartment was strewn with empty plates and crumpled wrapping paper, there was another knock at the door. This time, I knew who it was before I even moved. My entire body went rigid. Tyler, who was helping me clear the table, straightened up. "You do not have to answer that," he said quietly. "I know," I replied, "but I am going to." I opened the door just a crack, enough to see her, Patricia, my mother. She was standing in the brightly lit hallway, still in her fancy holiday dress, but her makeup was smudged and a few strands of hair had escaped her perfect coif. She was clutching her phone like a lifeline. Behind her, the corridor was empty. No backup, no audience, just us. "Madison," she said. Her voice was not angry or yelling. It was something far worse. Small. "Can we talk?" I stepped out into the hallway and pulled the door mostly shut behind me, leaving just a sliver of an opening. I wanted to still hear the faint sounds of my world, the world I had built. "About what?" I asked. "About how I ruined your holiday?" She winced. "You did not ruin it," she said softly. "You ruined mine." "No," I corrected her, my voice calm and steady. "I stopped performing for you. You ruined your own holiday." Her eyes flashed with a hint of her old fire. For a second, I thought she was going to unleash her favorite weapons, guilt and shame. But instead, she took a long, shaky breath. "Everyone is talking about that screenshot," she whispered. "About the video you posted. I cannot even show my face in the neighborhood without people looking at me like I am some kind of monster." "Then maybe you should stop acting like one," I replied. Her jaw tightened. "You have no idea what it took to hold this family together all these years," she hissed. "Your father was useless with money. Your brother was reckless. I did what I had to do." "You did what you had to do," I repeated, nodding slowly. "Fine. Own it. But do not you dare stand here and pretend you did any of it for me. You took from me. You lied to me. You made me feel guilty for wanting anything for myself. And then you had the nerve to call me not needed the moment I stopped killing myself to make you look good." Her eyes began to glisten with tears, but I did not move. My entire life, I had been conditioned to comfort her whenever she cried, even when she was the one who had hurt me. Not this time. "I should not have said that," she admitted, her voice cracking. "I was angry. You were being so difficult." "Being difficult?" I echoed. "You called me unnecessary on purpose." "I was hurt," she shot back. "You were turning everyone against me, planning your own party behind my back." "I planned my own party because you uninvited me from yours," I said calmly. "I did not turn anyone against you. I just stopped hiding the truth of what you did." We just stared at each other for a long moment, years of unspoken resentment hanging in the air between us like thick, choking smoke. Finally, she whispered, "I am alone, Madison. Your father is useless. Your brother walked out on me. Half the family will not even answer my calls. Are you happy now?" The old Madison would have shattered right there. I would have rushed forward, wrapped my arms around her, and apologized for making her feel bad. But tonight, I saw her plea for what it truly was. Not genuine vulnerability, but one last desperate act of manipulation. "No," I said, and it was the honest truth. "I am not happy that you are alone, but I am happy that the truth is finally out." She blinked, as if stunned by my lack of capitulation. "So? What now?" she asked. "You just never come home again? You cut me out of your life forever? Is that what you want?" I glanced back at the sliver of warm light spilling from my apartment door, at the blurry shapes of the few remaining people moving around inside. Then I looked back at her, standing alone in the cold, sterile hallway. "What I want," I said slowly, deliberately, "is a mother who does not treat me like a servant or a spare part. I want a family where my worth is not measured by how well I can make you look, and I honestly do not know if you are capable of being that person." She flinched, as if I had physically slapped her. "So that is it then?" "No," I said. "That is the starting line. If you want a relationship with me from this point forward, here are the new rules. You do not get to call me not needed ever again. You do not touch money that belongs to me. You do not use me as your emotional punching bag and then act shocked when I refuse to absorb the blows. And you apologize. You give me a real, genuine apology for what you did, not because you are embarrassed, but because you finally understand that it was wrong." Her eyes welled up with tears again. For a fleeting moment, I thought she might actually say the words, that she might say, "I am sorry," and mean it. But instead, she pulled herself upright, her spine stiffening with that old, familiar pride. "I do not deserve to be spoken to like this," she snapped, the mask of the matriarch falling back into place. "After everything I have done for this family, after everything I have sacrificed," I cut her off with a small, tired smile. "Then you know where the elevator is," I said, and nodded down the hall. We both knew she was not coming inside, not tonight. Maybe not for a very long time. Maybe never. She stared at me, her eyes boring into mine, waiting for me to cave, to crumble, to revert to the old version of me. I did not. After a long, tense moment of silence, she turned and walked away, the sharp click of her heels echoing down the empty corridor. I watched until the elevator doors slid shut, until there was nothing left but my own reflection in the polished steel. Then I turned around and went back inside my home. Tyler looked up anxiously as I closed the door. "Was that her?" he asked. "She was here," I confirmed. "She left. Did you?" He trailed off, not even sure what he wanted to ask. "I told her the truth," I replied. For the first time in my life, I told her the absolute truth, and I did not apologize for it. He nodded slowly, as if that, more than anything else that had happened, was the real revolution. Later, after everyone had gone and the apartment was finally quiet, I sat on my couch in the soft glow of the tree lights and just let the weight of the last few days settle over me. I had blown up my family's most cherished tradition. I had exposed secrets that had been buried for years. I had left my mother to sit alone with the consequences of her own actions. And I had celebrated. Truly celebrated. For the first time, it felt real. Revenge is not clean. It does not magically erase the years of hurt or the future that was taken from you. It just ensures that the person who broke you finally has to stop walking around acting like they did nothing wrong. Does it feel good? In a way, yes. Does it fix everything? Not even close. But for the first time in my life, the story is finally mine. If your mother told you that no one needed you for the holidays, would you swallow the hurt and show up with a smile anyway? Or would you cancel her perfect little show and build something real for yourself instead? And more importantly, if you were me, would you ever let her back in? Let me know in the comments. Would you choose revenge, forgiveness, or something else entirely? The end of the story.